the dust, dirt and mud of the Swartland to the hard, thankfully dry tarmac of the Killarney racing circuit, where the next 3 stages would take the teams well into the night. The track is popular with spectators, with cars pitted against each other in what becomes pretty frenetic track action. For Jan Habich, the rally was not going according to plan.
We're having a bit of a tough day today. We had some damage to electrical wiring through a water splash. So we've had a misfire since stage 2, stage 3, so we're quite far down at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, we're still going, so we'll keep pushing and see how much time we can make up.
Ficken turned up the wick on gravel and was now 3rd.
We won the first stage, and I think Serge worked up big time on the second stage. He gave us quite a hiding, and third stage went well. So yeah, we're not far off. We're just behind Enzo, so you know, times are looking good.
We're expecting some rain tomorrow. I think that'll spice up things even more. But personally, we've had a good run and we focused. The car feels very good, and we've got a new motor, a new gearbox in the car, and it feels very precise. I'm just taking it easy. We haven't pushed hard today. We've got to take it stage by stage. The VW Polo is very reliable at the moment. It's a very good car, and I enjoy driving it.
Was Enzo concerned about Damso's pace?
One would expect some stage wins from the Toyota, but you know, we've got some cards in hand, so let's see how we fare tomorrow. It's nice to know that we can push a bit harder if we need to.
Damso was leading Kuhn by 17 seconds after 3 stages.
First stage we had a puncher towards the end of the stage, so that slowed us a bit down. Stage 2 we had actually a very good stage. It felt a bit slow to me, but the time was there. So, and in the third stage we had a bit of a throttle position, giving us a problems there, but we didn't lose much time. The engine is actually very strong at the moment, so the car handles it very well. So we just have to keep the thing going.
Fastest production car pilot at this point was Johnny Gemmell.
When we're going well. It's, you know, the things that have been happening out of our control. You know, it's mechanical things, and so it's not really nice. Only the last one was really our fault, a little bit too fast in the corner, but the other non-finishes, it was mechanical problems out of our reach, really. We couldn't do anything about them.
The tarmac of Killarney was set to sort out the men from the boys, with stages 4, 5 and 6 promising high-speed action. The staggered starts and multiple laps create very close racing that's completely different to the usual special stage format, and the crowds arrived in their thousands to lap up the action. The tar wars in the production class were equally hectic. Here, Gemmell sweeps past a fast-starting Rueda. Here's Enzo on a hot lap, with Serge right behind. In S2000, Habich was showing his aggression, with Damso, the Toyota filling, in a VW sandwich. Ficken was in close proximity. It's an all-total affair as Rueda's Evo 9 is joined by teammate Lawrence in the S2000 Run-X. There's mayhem as Rueda, Lawrence and Wilkin all push through the tight corner, with Duplessis starting right behind them. Tony Ball takes an unconventional line into a tight left, while Rocky Reinecker uses his wide Subaru to squeeze out an eager Mark Cronier and Chris Birkin in the A6 Castrol Run-X. Andy Hayes-Smith becomes a victim of Killarney's notorious banked hairpin, but survives. The Subaru Cape Rally was the first to use new anti-jump start measures. A jump start sensor creates a beam in front of the start position. It's linked to the timing system and senses if a car crosses the start line before the allotted time. The penalties are severe. 10 seconds for a first offence, a minute for the second, and 5 minutes for a third transgression. Stages 5 and 6 see competitors going head-to-head. Also run on tar, the stages include tricky sections through the pits and the subway. Starting the cars in pairs created close rivalry and great racing for young and old. Ryan was looking as committed as ever. As darkness fell, the conditions became trickier for both drivers and navigators. Here, Duplessis misjudges the hairpin, but uses the Subaru's all-wheel drive to recover. The cockpit can become a very busy place. Ex-racing driver Wilkin, leading A7, was looking particularly strong on tar. Wilkin, Duplessis and Gemmell share the stage win with a time of 1 minute 47. Rueda's Mitsubishi couldn't match the Little Runex's nimble reactions, but look at that acceleration. Despite all his problems, Habich wasn't giving up and pushed his BP Volkswagen Polo to the limit. The track environment, bright headlights and very close dices between cars adds a further dimension to rallying that has become hugely popular with the rally crowds. And let's not forget the service crews, who selflessly toil away well into the night, long after the drivers have left for their cozy hotel rooms. At the end of day one, Damso enjoyed a 21-second lead over Kuhn, with Fecken still third. Leading the production car battle was Gemmell in fourth, with Ryan almost a minute and a half behind. In the class battles, Damso and Gemmell led S2000 and N4 respectively, while Wilkin is tops in A7. Heading A6 is Eugene Lawrence, with Gugu Zulu ahead in A5. Tops in N3 are Quibus Rus and Neil Fourie, with Nathan still heading N2. The Cape Doctor brought his cold and wet medicine to the Subaru Rally on day 2, with heavy rain turning the stages to slush. Stage 7 was the first of the day, with 12 kilometers of dirt setting the muddy scene. Conditions caused the Zero car to get stuck, delaying the start of the stage. As Gemmell's Mitsubishi Lancer Evo demonstrates, even all-wheel drive doesn't solve the traction problems when conditions are as slippery as this. And slippery it stayed, demanding a cautious approach from the crews. The S2000 Polo of Habich looked even more out of sorts in the mud. Enzo, starting further back in the hope that the cars ahead would open up some tractable surfaces, still found conditions difficult, but looked more composed through this section. The crowds loved the action, regardless of the weather. Have some pity for the poor service crews, however.
It's real miserable weather, but you know, it's the same for everyone. Yeah, it's pretty wet out there. It's slippery, and you know, one's got to be very careful. There's not a lot of grip to fix a mistake that you've made, so yeah, you've got to be wide awake. Even if it's four-wheel drive, it's still very slippery, so yeah, it's a bit tough going out there. On the last stage we tried too hard and had an overshoot, so too hard, and that's another 10-15 seconds lost, so you know, we just got to maybe back off a little bit and keep it clean.
The service park was a hive of activity as the crews toiled to fettle their steeds despite the conditions.
We had quite a clean stage, you know, and slippery out there, and you know, it's very difficult to judge yourself where you are until you got to the end of the stage. So actually quite pleased that we made up a little bit more time there. So now the long one's coming up, and that's going to be the tough one.
In the Kuhn camp, some communication problems almost led to disaster.
We were testing our relationship in there, but it worked out fine. We didn't lose too much time and got through it clean. Yeah, we had a complete intercom failure now in the stage. It was quite interesting in the rain, and so replaced my helmet now, and it seems to be fine.